Hey, ¿qué tal amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks. Today coming to you from the middle of Madrid. We can see that we've got the Royal Palace behind me. It's coming to the end of March, and it's currently snowing in Madrid. So that's one of the problems of working in this city. And today we're going to be looking at some of the pros and cons of working in Spain, specifically Madrid, and teaching English. And before we begin, one of the things I'm going to say is that when you come to Spain and you do teach English in a big city like Madrid, you're going to have to get used to two main things. One is that you're going to be spending a lot of time on public transport, and the second one is that you're probably going to have a lot of gaps in your schedule. So those are two things that you're going to have to get used to. And what I mean by spending time on public transport is that the nature of the job means that normally you go from company to company. If you're like me and you want to dedicate your time to teaching in company, then that is basically what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to spend a lot of time going from place to place. But the positive thing about that is that you get to know the city very well. You get to know all of the nooks and crannies of the city, and that's one of the advantages of this type of job. The other thing, as I said, is that you're going to have a lot of gaps in your schedule. Mainly because when you teach in company, you're going to either have morning classes from 8 o'clock in the morning to about 10. Then you're probably going to have a gap until about 1:30. That'll go through to 3:30, 4. And then you can also get evening classes from anywhere from 6 to 8 in the afternoon as well. So those would be two of the things that you're going to have to get used to. They can be pros, they can be cons. For example, if you've got a lot of gaps in your schedule, you can dedicate it to doing whatever you want. Like I said, you can get to know the city well. You can also try to do some other type of hobbies. Maybe you like to start some type of business. I mean, anything is possible when you've got a lot of time. You could even go home and have a kip if you want. So those are two things you'd have to keep in mind. So let's go and look at some of the others. Another one of the pros is that you're never going to be short of work. When you live in a country like Spain, unemployment rates are always something that are going to be a little bit daunting. But luckily there's a lot of demand for English teachers in this city and in the country in general. So really, if you want to come and live and work in a country like Spain, always consider English teaching as an option. Even if you're not an English teacher, you can train to become one. If you're a native English speaker, you can get work, and you're always going to be able to find work, so that's one of the pros. I've been doing it here for about the last 18 years. I've never been unemployed. There's going to be times of the year when it's harder to get work, for example in the summertime, but you can go and do summer camps around the country, and that's also one of the pros. Another one of the pros is that you get to meet a lot of people, local people, that you would never normally have access to. And what I mean by that is that, for example, in the last 18 years I've given classes to high-ranking politicians, I've given classes to CEOs in companies, and these are people that you wouldn't normally get access to if you came to live in a country like Spain. I'm not going to say that you become, great friends with these people, but it's always good to have these type of contacts, just in general. One of the negatives would definitely be the contract situation. Spain is a country that has a really dodgy labour contract situation. What I mean by that is that none of the contracts are going to be permanent. Unless you find one of the places that are going to give you a 12-month contract, most of the contracts are going to be for 9 months. I'm self-employed, so I don't really depend on contracts, but there's also a lot of risk involved with that. And that's one of the negative sides. Another con would be that you are going to have to pound the streets. Now, for me, that's not really a con, but it could be if you're not an active person. If you want to just sit around in an academy, you can also find that type of work as well. There's a lot of academies in Madrid that offer work in the afternoons from 5 o'clock through to 10, where you're just going to be sitting in the one place. I look at the commuting and the moving around as a pro, because, as I said, you can get to know the city fairly well. You can get to know all of the good bars and restaurants if you like that type of thing. You can also get to see a lot of the monuments and just really get a feel for the city, what it's like to live in a big European capital city like Madrid. Another pro or con, depending on how you look at it, is also that you need to have a personality that's suited to a dynamic classroom environment. Students normally like to be kept fairly active in a class, and a lot of the times you'll feel that you're a bit of an actor when it comes to teaching English. You're the main focus of the class, of course, and people are interested in knowing about your life and about you, and the way that you give your classes really depends on your personality. And the people that have let's just say vibrant personalities are the ones that tend to do quite well in this type of profession here in Spain. One of the negatives definitely about teaching English in Spain is that the majority of the jobs are going to be in big cities like Madrid or Barcelona, which means that the quality of life aspect is not going to be the best. However, when you live in a big city like Madrid, there are a lot of pros and cons. I'll do another video on some of the pros and cons of living in a city like Madrid, but keep that in mind that it's a very urban type of living. There's no coast. The mountains are about 50 or 60 kilometers away that you probably have to go to if you want to get any type of nature. So that's one of the negatives. Another pro about teaching English in Madrid is that a lot of the company classes are going to be in the centre of the city, which means that it's fairly easy to get around because the metro system is good, the bus system is good, there's a bicycle scheme as well. So you're not going to have any problems to get around the city. Some of the bigger companies have gone to the outskirts, but they're still not that difficult to get to if you compare to other cities around the world. So that's definitely one of the pros. Another thing that I consider to be a pro is the money that you're going to make teaching English and the cost of living in a city like Madrid. The balance is still quite good. And what I mean by that is that you can normally find a place to rent, transport costs, food costs, living costs are more or less going to be covered by the salary you can make teaching English. Teaching in company you can make anywhere from 20 to 30 euros an hour, and if you work on a contract it's probably going to be a little bit less. If you're able to get block hours, which is not easy to do, but if you are able to get block hours, obviously you're going to be able to make a little bit more money, but you can make a salary that is above the average salary for a lot of people here in Spain. So to sum up, I would say that there are more pros than cons. Over the last 18 years, it's the only thing I've done. I've been happy, I've been sad. You know, you have your ups and downs like with any job. No job is perfect. You're going to have to work hard, but in general it's a rewarding experience, and in my opinion the pros outweigh the cons. So that's all I've got to say today. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the section below. Remember to give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. I'll see you in the next vlog. Hasta luego.